You thought you were bad at ZVP.
Look, I have played
out you
Leo
weren't,
Rusher
actually.
a surprising amount of times on the ladder. Okay, it's not a pretty sight. It's not a pretty sight.
The sole reason for your ZVP not being as good. I almost said TvZ, but that's because we are in that matchup right now. We don't get it too often, and we're gonna get it on inside as well as out. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Britain. He is fueled by bread and tomatoes. He is representing Platinum Heroes, Iba. Maybe he's actually representing Italy.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Inside and Out, we have our South Korean Terran player hailing from the land of representing, Team GP. It is Control.
You know what I just realized, Slade?
What's up?
This is our second series of the night.
I know.
I was like, oh yeah, we're almost at the semifinals. And it's like, wait.
I mean, the downtime didn't help, to be fair. The downtime didn't help. And we had to fill a lot. We were talking about fucking wigs. That's how desperate we got.
Disco, you know.
Oh my god. But yeah,
Disco Duck.
Disco. Oh, that's an idea for an email.
It's an actual song.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, we'll see how things turn out here. Already a surprising turn of events, mate. That is not a Reaper first or a Marine first.
That is I am being very greedy first and going for a reactor. Thankfully, he is still expanding behind this. He is still getting his wall up and everything. But yeah, when you're up against a player who I imagine don't play against too often, like I said, different regions and whatnot, this is a pretty easy way to get 12 fooled.
This is crazy. I mean, Iba did go for a hatch gas pool, and you're right. Like, if Iba was a little bit more of an aggressive player, then Control would be hard punished for this. But for the time being, he gives up map control. He doesn't go for a Reaper. But again, being very greedy here, and that's the thing about Control. He is one of the crazier Korean players. Period.
Pretty much. I mean, he's on the same team as Ryung for a reason. They do like their Terran theorizing, as I have come to call it, and that is a second and a third racks on the way. 3 racks is something you see pretty often in TVP, not so much in TvZ.
Yeah, you want to know a fun fact?
Do I?
Asher sniped me on the ladder doing this.
Did he win?
Earlier today. No, he did. He lost, actually. He lost. Take that, Asher.
That's... yeah.
God, but yeah, 3 racks openers have kind of gotten a resurgence in popularity in this matchup, and it can be really scary and be really difficult to scout. And the thing is that this isn't your typical 3 racks either. This is like an insanely greedy version of it because of the opener, and because of all these Marines. It's going to be difficult for Iba to distinguish between whether or not this is a 3 racks or a 2-on-1.
Yeah, either way. Well, I was gonna say either way. You know, the Zerg players are probably going to get a lot of lings, but now that I actually say it out loud, you probably don't want a lot of lings against Stim the Marines, do you?
Yeah, I mean, you will need an army regardless. I think ideally getting an early Baneling nest will be ideal here, bearing in mind that there won't be that much micro potential because unlike a 2-on-1, there won't be any medevacs with this. Like, oh my god, what? He doubles down!
This is not a 3 racks! It's a 3 plus 2 racks.
Oh my god.
It's just a straight up mass Marine push going to be coming down from Control, and I'm definitely curious to see where this goes. I like this for Iba. He is building a Baneling nest right now. Again, he isn't really sure whether or not this is a 2-on-1 or something more, but he's keeping his options open.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to get a little bit of scout information. His lane is going to go up this ramp, and he's going to see a mass amount of Marines, and there we go. The Marines are now moving out. Iba is barely going to catch this with his Overlord, so now he knows that the push is coming, and again, because of the timing of this push, it is earlier than a 2-on-1. Iba should be fully aware of what is coming. He's making nothing but links right now.
And it's going to come down to a lot to positioning and micro right now for Control. Iba, I don't see a way for him of holding this without Banelings, but even then, he's going to have to work with slow Banes.
But there we go, Banelings are being morphed in right now. We have all of our queens getting in position, and we have a lot of links here to surround. Right now, Control is being very careful. He doesn't want to get surrounded. He's working with the terrain, working with this choke point, making sure that that surround doesn't happen.
He always has to make sure that he doesn't get sandwiched. He can retreat if need be. Finding a choke point is great, but you also need room to split if it comes to that.
Yeah, exactly. And already an Overlord goes down, a little bit of creep as well. Iba has done a great job at sussing this out and responding with an army, and Control is doing a great job at respecting what Iba is doing.
Is that a 6 and 7 racks that I see?
I mean, Iba, he keeps scouting, by the way. He's looking for a third base with that Ling. He hasn't gone in yet, though. He doesn't know how all in Control is, because Jesus Christ, that's a lot of Raxes.
This is too many Raxes for 2 bases to sustain, isn't it? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 5 Raxes on 2 bases.
Oh my god. Meanwhile, the Marines, there we go. The first stim has been thrown down, and Iba immediately evacuates, but he's still going to lose workers in the process.
Yeah, oh no, the Lings very much cut off. They will trickle in and they will get taken out. 1 Baneling connection gets the ball rolling, and 2 Banes is all Iba needs. Control his attention elsewhere for just a second. Wasn't quite able to snipe down the slow Banes.
Yeah, he was trying to snipe the Banes, and he got 3 of them in the end, but there were 5 being morphed in, and he didn't get them all in time. And those Baneling connections were huge. That's exactly what Iba needed, and now he has so much breathing room. He saved his base, by the way, because Control was trying to dive on the army, and now I feel like the threatening nature of this push has kind of come and gone. Like, Control still has a lot of Marines, but Baneling speed is done.
Yeah, Control's kind of lost his momentum. Baneling speed is done, but the target firing from Control has been impeccable. The choke point fighting, not so much though.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, the second force got cleaned up, and again, the first push is the scariest, and now we're working towards the third. Again, there's no follow-up. There are 12 Marines being produced at a time, but the longer this goes on, the easier it is for Iba.
Unless Control maxes out.
Oh boy, speaking of maxing out, you know, Iba, his drone count's looking pretty good. He's got another base for that lava to be spent. He's got double Eva chambers for 1-1. I think that's a little bit greedy, but again, he's not being too greedy. He's not working on his upgrades, still working on nothing but Ling Bane, recognizing that there still is no third. Yeah,
Iba definitely knows he can get away with this. He has to focus entirely on his defense, because once he doesn't, then everything's going to slip him by. Once again, the wave of Marines gets cleaned out. And Control, man, he's just trickling in over and over again.
Yeah, things are getting out of control right now. There we go. +1 melee is on the way. I just love that Control still like, to be fair, you can't transition from here. You're too far behind, but another army gets swallowed up on the right-hand side. Control has another large Marine force, and he's working on +1 armor, I guess, but I had to admit,
he's still producing 12 Marines at a time. He's kind of catching up on the army count. It's gonna be very, very, very difficult, but I definitely see a universe where, you know, Control, he's able to split against the Banelings or snipe the Banelings and then clean out the rest of the Lings. The boys have been pulled, but are they gonna be enough? No, the Banelings, very smartly from Eva, are focusing on the Marines rather than the SCVs.
Yeah,
there's still a tiny chance for Control.
I mean, the boys are here, but there are more Banelings being morphed in. We have Queens with transfused energy as well. The splits are looking pretty good, but there are just too many Banelings.
Yeah, the boys were pulled earlier on, and I think Control may have been able to snowball from there, may have been able to take one good fight and have enough momentum to keep going. Not necessarily win, but he was a little late on that call, and with that, Iba is going to be taking game number 1.
Oof. GG, well played. He does take the first game, but what a wild game as well. We were looking at it, we're like, oh my god, he's going for a 3 racks opener. Oh my god, he's going for a 5 rack. Oh my god, it's 7 racks. It's crazy. I was
getting ready to send this replay to Asher and say, like, okay, this is why your 3 racks failed. You needed more racks, but Yeah, not quite in the end.
I thought you were gonna say like, really? Control just needed to pull the boys sooner, you know? Here.
Well, that was the other thing. I legitimately do feel like pulling the boys did make a bit of a difference for him in the end, but by that point, you know, Iba was just so far ahead that no matter what he did, like, he would have needed literally everything to go right for him. It was, there was still a chance, but it was a 1 in a million chance for Control to win. Whereas if he pulled the boys sooner, would have been better for him. Of course, you don't want to.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't want to pull the boys too early because, you know, you're producing out of 7 Rexes at a time. But you know,
it's also one of those things where, to be fair, as we may have the wrong map and we may have to remake. But to be fair, like the first.
We have the wrong server.
Yes. But we do have we did see that the first push of Control was looking pretty promising, right? Like he was sniping banelings as they were being morphed in. He forced Iba to evacuate his 3rd base. He didn't get a kill in the 3rd though because he was getting a little bit greedy. So again, that could have been maybe executed a little bit better.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. Are we refs? Can we tell them?
We are not refs.
I'll tell them by leaving.
Wait, we'll see. We'll see if they play it out. Yeah, we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are gonna be remaking here for fairness. Of course, we do alternate between West, Central, and West.
Unless our players agree on something different.
Yeah. There are certain.
Let's say Brazil, AU, Brazil.
There are certain players that get better ping elsewhere. Like I know Demi is always a really unique scenario because India is like he actually gets like decent ping to EU, which is weird, but yeah, it happens.
Yeah, India is like the weird position in the world where it's not good for any region, but it's not terrible for any region either. Except maybe Brazil.
Yeah.
That's pretty consistent.
Yeah, India is where you want to be at, mate, for ideal ping throughout the world. Demi knows. But yeah, we'll see where this kind of takes us. Like, I'm already excited just because of how game 1 went from Control. I doubt he's gonna do that again, but like, I'm sure he's got plenty of crazy other builds up his sleeve.
I think he's gonna Gangnam Terran.
Oh my god. I wonder if anyone has tried that. Has anyone been crazy enough to try that on this map?
Ziggy, probably.
So I was looking at you.
I don't know if he's been successful in that.
Fair enough.
I'm busy.
Have you laddered on the new map pool? I think you have, right? Like a couple of games, or?
No, I played customs on the new map pool. I haven't laddered since the new season came out.
Okay.
But we are, of course, going to be continuing our series on the new map pool. One of those maps, of course, being Cosmic Sapphire, which is, you know, the map that we are currently on. In the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner, we have a red Zerg player coming out from the land of Britain. He is, of course, the youngest GM in the history of anything. Representing Platinum Heroes, he is Iba.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Team GP. It is Control.
Control. It's good.
Yeah, you know, Control, like, I love watching him play Bio. I have seen him go 2-on-1. I've seen him go 1-on-1 into Bio play. We've also seen him just make nothing but Marines.
We just saw him make nothing but Marines, yeah.
But you brought up a good point, and I wonder if it will come into play on this map. You know, there is a gold base, and something like that can definitely benefit a Terran player if it gets taken unscouted. We haven't seen like a Ninja Gold been taken in a while, but I will always remember the first week of ESL Open Cup Asia that we casted, where Top against Hero took the gold base.
Yeah, it didn't work out for him in the end because Hero had the same idea.
Yeah.
And eventually went down there, but yeah, it's... We'll see if there's any innovations on that coming into the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to step up. Someone's got to take that mantle. Who is it gonna be? Oh, I mean, so far at least, a much more standard opener. We have a Reaper on the way.
Yeah, Reaper Expand followed by a Factory. It looks like to be a standard 1-1-1 coming out from Control.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's not something that we would usually point out, but based off of game one, I felt like it was necessary to point it out.
Yeah.
Especially because, Control actually with his SCV scout blocked the third base location of Eba, so forces him to take a third that he wasn't really looking forward to taking here towards the south.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a little less defensible third base here for Zerg. But I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that we've seen a lot of Zerg players looking to expand towards the triangular third because it's so much easier to take your fourth here on the right hand side because it's literally right next to you, whereas it can be a little bit more awkward if you expand to the left hand side instead.
Yeah, your options at that point are either take that gold base or take the triangular third as your fourth and isolate your linear base.
Yeah, like you spread yourself pretty thin if you do that. So that could come into play when we get into the mid game. If we get into the mid game, as Control, he made a Cyclone. He's making a second Cyclone.
I thought he was going 1-1-1, but nope. It is a 2-factory Cyclone push by the looks of things.
Oh my god, yeah, I mean, so he rushed out that tech lab, he immediately went for the switch. We have 2 Cyclones on the way. We're going to see another switch here for Hellions, I imagine. Yeah, we go for Control. Blue Flame is on the way.
And that will absolutely shred through Lings like they were nothing.
Control is crazy. So yeah, very, very unorthodox play here coming out from Control these past couple of games. Eba still hasn't gone for a scout, but now he sees everything with his Overlord. He did spot both Cyclones.
Yeah, he should know how to respond to this. He should know that he has the tools that he needs to defend. Well, once he gets them.
Yeah, immediately Roachwarren gets thrown down. The scouting Ling saw both factories and it also saw the tech lab researching, so he knows that could either be Magfield accelerators or Blue Flame, and Blue Flame is the more common one. So Eba knows that he has to get ready, he has to prepare himself to defend against that oncoming mech push.
Unless this was all a fake out. But no, I don't think Control ever does things too. Control doesn't really do fake outs too often, does he?
He's very committed.
He's crazy, but yeah, he's crazy, but he's committed.
Exactly. And already here we go. He's moving out across the map. Magfields is on the way behind this, by the way, already rocking on up. How much damage can he deal? The Mineral Line is looking a little bit exposed. The Queens are distracted.
And Blue Flame did finish up as well. That's the damage potential of lock-ons. Eggs already at half health. Didn't commit to the kill though.
Yeah, the eggs were able to survive in the end. Roaches have been spotted. So Control is aware of the army composition. It isn't going to be any kind of weird like Ling Bane into Muta style or anything like that coming out from Eba.
And with that, he's just trying to bait away as much of the forces of Eba as possible, even using his barracks as a little bit of a target.
Yeah, it was honestly a really nice use of that barracks. It was kind of forcing the auto attacks of the Queens to be on that instead, but Control wasn't able to deal too much damage. The economy of Eba is pretty safe and sound behind this, and yeah, a couple of these Hellions even get taken out as well. Ooh.
Yeah, and with that, this is suddenly a lot less terrifying to deal with from the side of Eba. There's nothing really too buffer for the Cyclones anymore.
Yeah, that was again really nice target firing there by Eba. Control, he overextended a little bit too much, losing too much of that buffer for the Cyclones, and he loses a lot of his frontal force. And now Eba, he's gonna be feeling pretty relaxed, pretty safe, and now he can expand.
Like so. And not only onus is really on control, or at least my eyes are a lot more on control to see how he transitions from here. He did finish up Magfield, unless I'm hallucinating.
Mhm.
And he's just going to continue to commit with mech, this time a little bit more turtly, though, I imagine.
Yeah, 3 more factories are on the way. Tank production has commenced here because Control knows he no longer has map control. It's just no longer a thing that he has, so he has to prepare for a follow-up roach push. The wall is being prioritized as well, just to buy time, just to notify him when the army does rock up. Meanwhile, Iba is going to poke in. I don't think he's going to really commit, though, because he's busy droning and even teching.
Yeah, that is a very quick infestation pit, but you can get away with doing something like that when you have to complete another map control.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, the roaches find a way into that mineral line as well. The tank is going to be dishing out a lot of damage on top of said roaches, but oh, they almost got on top of it. And they get a couple of SCVs.
Yeah, good use of friendly fire there from Eva. He's able to take out a couple more SCVs like so, and also trade a few of his forces.
Yeah. I mean, you know, trading roaches for workers, it's okay. It's okay here for Eva. He did lose a lot of roaches, though, more than I'm sure he wanted to. He does have the economy to replace them, though, and more roaches are on the way. Yeah, we're just kind of gonna slow things down a little bit here. Now, I was curious what the infestation pit was gonna be for.
And it turns out we're going to be slowing things down for a lot as a swarm host are going to be a massive wrench in the plans of Control. That was the potato flip.
It's a little bit confusing. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see Swarm Hosts. You don't see them too often, but they can work really well against mech, especially a slow style of mech. And without many Hellions or Cyclones, I think it's a really smart choice by Eba. Without Niduses, like your Swarm Hosts can be caught out. But again, mate, there aren't any more Cyclones.
Yeah, who's going to catch those? Certainly not the Cyclones. They don't exist.
Yeah, not anymore, mate. Not anymore. Meanwhile, feels bad, man. Control killed his own Hellion for splash damage to kill the Roach, and the Roach survived. That was disgusting.
He assumed it died, but
yeah.
Never assume.
Oh god, the Roach does live on. Meanwhile, the Hellions, they dive into the third base. They're going to be able to roast up a couple of units. What's important, though, they do scout the Swarm Hosts.
He's able to confirm it. He knows exactly the composition that Eba is going for. He doesn't have to worry too much about lurkers or anything like that. Not for the time being. Instead, he has to focus on not dying to locusts. Usually that involves blue flame.
Yeah, and the Locust Wave is coming. That's a lot of Swarmers. They're going to be diving on this army. They're just kind of diving on in. They're not really trying to focus on the tanks, but they're going to get them anyway. 2 tanks already going down. A Ghost as well.
That's pretty massive loss. And once again, we're getting a somewhat familiar story as Eba versus Starduck. Control is running away with the worker count. He has so much more income, but Eba is maxed out and has a much greater army supply.
Yeah, he just trades that much more efficiently. 9 workers did go down. You know, Control is doing some damage with this harassment force, but his tank count isn't high enough to actually cover all of his bases. Like, this 4th base is completely exposed.
I can see how much trouble Control really is because of that. His tanks are going to have to re-siege and hit someplace else, or not re-unsiege, in which case they just get swallowed up by the locusts.
Yeah, and speaking of, there we go, 3 more tanks. A Thor goes down as well. This may be the final moments here as Eva is breaking through the defenses of Control. GG gets called.
And Eva will take that series 2-0, proving that the future is now. Very well played.
Wow, GG, well played indeed. Eba does take the series. He takes down the young Korean player in Control, relatively young, and
No,
yeah,
it's like him.
I mean, yo, Eba's looking really good today.
Yeah. Taking out Starduck 2-0, taking out Control 2-0. That's 2 of the big matchups, and yeah, I don't think he's gonna have to worry too much about ZVZ, especially because he is going to be put in as ZVP next, which he's
Yeah.
already proven himself in.
I mean, first, massive shout out to Control. Like, I even saw some people in the chat that were really excited to see him go for that 7 racks play in game number 1. A lot of people were very impressed by Control, and I was as well. Like, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, is what I should say. But it just wasn't enough in the end against Iba. Iba, his scouting information and his responding was insane in both games, right? Like, he was able to correctly identify the Mass Marine style in game 1, and in game 2, he saw the Cyclones really early on. Like, he was able to respond also really nicely, not just with roaches, but after recognizing that he cleaned up all the Cyclones, like, abusing that fact with Swarm Host was like exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah. And, identifying that there weren't any swarm hosts, identifying that, all these, the 2 third bases of Control were very much isolated. If he hits one of them, those tanks are going to be able to unsiege and siege up at the other in time.
Yeah. Again, very well done there. Very well done by our young British player. And now his ZVP once again is gonna be put to the test here. He took down Starduck earlier today, but now he moves on against the number 1 seed of the entire tournament.